Adversity, bring it. The struggle, I welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. I am Dave Regina, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 195. As always, I'm in the booth with a beautiful three. We have Melissa, the Dr. Pulcini, Claudio, the Voice, Valenzuela, and I am Dave, the Body, Regina. Melissa has been practicing medicine for over 20 years. As a board-certified physician assistant and a certified nutrition specialist, Melissa's vast experience ranges across aesthetics, integrative medicine, primary care, and surgery. She is the owner of Elivate Med Spa in Greenwich, Connecticut, a member of both the American Nutrition Association and American Med Spa Association. Melissa is currently a professor of anatomy and physiology at Sacred Heart University. Melissa inspires everyone to feel, look, and live their best selves. Her passion is unwavering. She is extremely knowledgeable in her field, and she's become a great friend and doctor of mine. I'm so excited to have her here. Melissa, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Dave. I'm excited to be here. After all this time, let's do this.
Full transparency, we've been trying to get this together for about 6 months now, and I've seen her many times since, but happy to have you here. Let's start with the ACE partnership, right? So Action Cultivates Excellence. We had our first 3-day retreat, and you were a partner and sponsor in that event. I'm curious, because we never even really spoke about it.
Yeah.
Why did you partner with us? And being I don't know if the spa itself is dominated by females, but your operation is dominated by females, right? So I love that you were so willing to support what we're doing, obviously, for men, but I never asked you, why did you and why do you support ACE?
I believe in what you do. I was so inspired when I met you and you were telling me what you were working on and your motivation, your goals, your inspiration. I really, that's how we became friends. Mm-hmm. It's like your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yes.
And we met and I'm like, this is something I can stand behind. So really, it wasn't so much about the med spa. It was really supporting your cause and just kind of helping and getting involved. And it is so powerful, those events. When we're there, it's like, our energy is so great. And I love that. We're all trying to make a difference in this world, or even if it's in someone's world, maybe we're not going to change the whole world. Mm-hmm. But I really believe in what you guys do. So I just wanted to be part of it.
Oh, thank you so much. And, I really believe in what it is that you do and the message that you put across. Like I said in the bio, I think your passion is unmatched, but your knowledge and you're so educated in the field of wellness, which is something, when people look at you, I'm sure you get judged a lot, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit.
You have no idea. I would love to talk about that.
Yeah.
People think I don't look smart. And I've dealt with that my whole life. I was valedictorian in school in my medical program. And
Geek Squad?
Yeah, I worked hard, and I had a lot of self-doubt because people were like, oh, how did you do this? I didn't even know you were smart. They look at me, they used to call me Dr. Barbie. And I would be, but I was like insulted by it. I thought that they were, I didn't feel worthy of it. So, so I've been judged a lot. But I'm smart and I'm knowledgeable and I work hard and I learn and I teach and I own it now, but it took a while.
You do. But the knowledge is incredible because, the way you're able to break down this stuff and really explain what's going on is a completely different space of wellness for me. And I specifically came to you to, I guess, all right, your slogan is look good. What is it?
I like feel good first. So okay. Feel good, look good, live good.
Okay. Feel good, look good, live good.
Yep.
I was telling you off air, I feel 2 out of the 3.
Right.
I think that I like the way that I look. I mean, you can always improve the way you look, right? But I'm happy with that. And I think that I'm living good. I feel a sense of fulfillment and passion in what I'm doing, both personally and professionally. But if I'm being honest, I don't really feel great day to day. And that would be, I think a little ironic for people to hear because they look at me and they're like, oh, well, you look really in shape.
Right.
So I came to you specifically to run a couple tests that I don't even really know what we did. And I want to know from you, so everybody else knows, what service is that you kind of start with and provide to people that we're doing currently?
Right. Well, my whole thing is I want to pull together, right, the feeling good, the looking good, and the living good. And it's not looking in like a vain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not how I look at it. I think when you're feeling good on the inside, you radiate that to the world, right? And you're glowing, and it's not a vanity thing where I'm like, oh, I want to make a perfect nose, I want you out in the world, like just feeling your best, because then I think that you're living your best and it's all together. So that's kind of what Elivate is about. For you, I think that, you're working out really hard, you're eating well, you live a healthy lifestyle, but I needed to find how to optimize it, right? So we talked about this, your age, you're still young. So you're kind of running on fumes right now, right? So I want to look at you, and what was one of the first things I said to you? What's your favorite sports car? And or what's your favorite car? And you said Escalade. You actually said you struggled, but then you're like Escalade. And I'm like, okay, I want a Bugatti one day. Probably not going to ever get one, but I'm like, I want to treat my body like that. So a lot of times people look at it as like, okay, what would you do if you had your Escalade or your Bugatti? Are you going to be putting shitty gas in it? Are you going to be just leaving it there to rust and to not take care of it? So I'm like, let's treat your body. Okay, look at it that way. It's like your favorite car, right? Your dream car. And what are you going to put in it? So I think that right now we can optimize it, right? Maybe you're putting in like 87 gas into your car instead of 93. No, and that's the way that I try and, it's not the right word to like simplify things, but I try and get my patients or people I work with to understand. And that's one of the ways to do it. It's like, how can we make you run optimally, more efficient, the best that you can be? So that's really what we did. So we did your lab work. I looked for all your vitamins, your minerals, your antioxidants. I looked at how you break down your food and how you use that for energy.
This is so interesting, though, because all you really took thus far was the urine sample.
Yes.
Right? Which, by the way, I was petrified because I'm like, this looks brown. I'm dehydrated. I don't know. I don't want to turn this in. Like, should I water it down a little bit? I didn't know what to do. I didn't do that, Doc. So
right,
don't get mad at me.
Thanks.
But, this is real. This can be done. Like, I don't want people thinking you got to go in and give 58 vials of blood, you know? And when you were saying that originally, I'm like, how the heck is she going to break down my energy cycle from my urine? And then you gave me this 12-page document, and it takes you like hours to go through for each client. And it's really personal to them, where you're breaking down everything that there was like a scale, right? And it's basically green, yellow, and red, and it shows what you're deficient in. Is that accurate?
Yes, correct.
And you're able to, I guess, identify, and then you create a customized plan to get each individual back into optimal performance.
Yep, exactly. And that's where we started. So we did like a nutrition evaluation. I call it Metabolomics, Nutri-Eval. And then I kind of see what the patient needs. Next, I want to do a stool test.
Oh, boy. On me?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Because I want to see how your gut's working. So it's like I usually start there, and then I see what some of the deficiencies or issues, and then I'll order blood work next. I'll order a stool test, a hormone test. It's kind of like a baseline start.
Okay.
And then, but I have other plans for you too, because I want to check into your GI health overall.
With the Crohn's,
that was the next thing
rough.
that I was going to tell you. Yeah.
Okay.
But, we looked at it, and my main thing right now that I want you to focus on is how you're taking in food and how you're breaking it down and utilizing that for energy. Because one of your main complaints is fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
You're tired, you're working hard, but you're tired. So I want to start with that first. I never want to overwhelm anyone. And I never want to give a list of 100 supplements or 100 lifestyle changes, because
pull that a little closer.
Then, we're humans. So then people will fail if you overwhelm them. So I want to do it step by step. So that was your first step that we did, but I have a whole plan coming for you.
I love this approach. And honestly, I want to do it. I want to document it. I share everything in my life. I know there's probably some HIPAA things that you can't talk about, but I release all things to you, so you can share whatever you want on my behalf. Okay. How did you find your way into medicine though? I mean, it's been over 20 years now. I read a little bit about you in that document, and you were not only valedictorian, but you were like magna cum sum laudes and all the things that I was not. in college. So like, were you always passionate about medicine and you knew this from an early age?
So from an early age, from a kid, I have a unique heart. I have a heart. I always want to heal and take care of people. And from a kid, like even earlier than your daughter, I was trying to fix things, animals, put them back together, like trying to figure out how to make people healthier. I was, back in the day, they used to do IQ testing. They don't do it anymore. So I was in this like group of high IQ kids where they like pulled me out of school, and I was inventing things at like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I was inventing things, how to get vitamin C to people. I made something called VitaBubble, which was a bubble gum that had all your vitamins in it. So from the beginning, I was trying to make people feel better. It made me happy to, to just kind of take care of people. So what does that lead into medicine, right? So through the years, I'm like, oh, I want to go into medicine because I want to be able to, make people better. But then through the years, I was in the ER saving lives, surgery. I did all traditional medicine. I ended up kind of switching gears to, instead of writing prescriptions for everything, like, okay, you have diabetes, let me give you this medicine. You have high cholesterol. What can I do to really make that person live better? Not just live longer, right? Lifespan, okay, we can make you live to 120 now, but live healthier and happier. So my mindset changed, and I was like, I want to get into that. So I got into nutrition, integrative medicine. I started researching. So it was always there. My spark was there from the beginning. And it's funny that I do so much with vitamins now. And I was 6 years old inventing gum that had vitamins in it. Some of my inventions were crazy. I thought I cured cancer, like in 4th grade, but it was like my mind and my heart together. It was always there. And I just took that spark and I just fueled it. I just blew it up. And through life, I just kept kind of moving with it. I love it.
Wow.
I love what I do.
Is her microphone good? Or should we adjust? Good? Yeah, because you're spitting fire, and I want to make sure everyone hears it, and they don't just hear my loud voice over their radios.
I know. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. I call myself sometimes too. It's just so off track, but like I drink my Yeti every episode, and I sometimes hear in the background me like.
He's like,
yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. So you mentioned something about lifespan and health span.
Yeah.
You just posted about it. I thought it was so interesting. Can you explain the difference of it? Because I think a lot of people, it's going to resonate.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all about now, regenerative medicine, and lifespan is something in medicine that, we've been able to, with cancer treatments, all these kinds of different things, extend people's life longer,
so
right?
That's the number.
That's the number, right? Okay. So that's lifespan. Okay, now you can live to 90, 100, right? So that's changed. Health span is living longer, but happier and healthier and not in pain, right? Actually living, right? So I know for me personally, I want to get to, whatever age, but I want to, not be hurting. I want to be working out. I want to be traveling. I want to be there for my kids. So that's what health span is. And I think that's the shift in medicine now too, is where we're like, okay, we've figured out how to keep people alive longer, but look, they're in pain, they're suffering. There's all these disease entities. And disease really is, aging and the breakdown of the body and the cells. And we can do things about it, like what I'm doing with you, right? What is the goal? Is I want you living as long as possible, but I want you saying like, Mel, I feel great. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I could be there when I have grandkids, not just there taking 100 different medications. Right. So I'm really focused on helping people with their health span, and not just lifespan.
Are you familiar with Gary Brecka?
Yeah.
His work?
Yeah.
So he was one of the main doctors for like Dana White, kind of turning his life around. But he was doing an interview, and he basically was saying how in America we are doing, like, our medicine practice is so ass backwards, because basically we get sick and then we medicate. Yep. Whereas we should be, as doctors, providing information to individuals and providing preventative maintenance before they actually get sick, right? So we should be doing exactly the stuff that you're doing is what he's talking about. But a lot of people, I'll say this, and I don't know why it is, but I think a lot of people, even me, scared to go to the doctor at times because you don't want to, I don't know if it's an avoidance, if it could be a strategic avoidance, but you don't want to hear anything bad. And I think people get to a certain place in their life, especially when they're a little bit unhealthy, that they really don't want to go. But going to see somebody like you and what you do in your field is really about making everything better. right? So people should not be nervous at all when they come to see you.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I have that background of traditional medicine, right? And that's my foundation, but I have grown from there. And I think that was always my passion, right? So I was in a traditional practice taking insurance, and I'm like, these people are so sick all the time. And intuitively, right? I told you about like my heart. I wanted to do something about it. I was not okay just saying like, take this medication, see you in 6 months. Like it didn't sit right with me. It didn't feel good. But I had to go, and I had to go on my own and spend money and learn and invest time, because the traditional medical plan, it's not supporting that. Now there's people like me that are changing. The world is changing, and we're out there almost like pioneers. I mean, I've been doing this way before people heard of like integrative medicine, IV therapy. Like I was kind of pushing for it for a long, long time, because that's what I felt was the right thing to do for people. Right. And I think that it is shifting, but it's still sad. You have to like go seek that out. Right. It's not at like your traditional, primary care because the insurance and they only have a certain amount of time. So now I'm out of that. Right. So now I could spend 8 hours with you if I want. Nobody's going to tell me like, okay, you have to, they have to be in 15 minutes. You have to go. Like, I care about you. You're my patient. You're going to come in, and I'm going to spend the time to teach you, to educate you, right? And to try and make you as healthy as possible. But that was like a shift away from the norm at some time. Originally, people were like, that's weird. You're going to do that. And I'm like, this is where it's at, right? I made an oath, right? And I was put on this earth. My purpose is to help people, right? That's what makes me happy. And if I'm truly going to do that, this is where it's at. So
I love that. I want to talk about confidence.
Yeah.
Okay. So you not only come off, but also knowing you as well, you're a very confident individual. You look good, you're feeling good, but I'm curious, were you always that way? And I like, No Snooze podcast is really a platform to inspire and to encourage people and for them not to snooze on their life. And I think a big portion of that is confidence. And I like picking, I identify as a confident man, but I still have my limiting beliefs, Did I say limiting? Yeah, limiting beliefs. And some self-doubt creeps in here and there, which I talk about often. But I'm curious, looking at you, another individual who exudes confidence. Have you struggled with confidence in the past?
Of course. Yeah. So what is confidence, right? So that is a belief, right? An inner belief and faith and trust in myself and what I do, right? And just it's an inside feeling, right? But that's built over time. Okay. So just what you said, the self-fear and the doubt, and that was always there, right? That's as you're growing up, you have that fear, you have that self-doubt in yourself. Am I worthy? I had all the insecurities like everybody else. Then there's ego, right? Ego, people confuse that with confidence. So that's what I had. And then over time, I gained and built my confidence. And I am confident because if I don't believe in myself or have faith in myself, who is going to? Do you know what I'm saying? So I would like to say like, hells yeah, I'm confident. I believe in myself and I believe in what I do. So I am confident. It's funny that radiates out because I'm very humble, and I get nervous that people think like I'm vain or I'm egotistical and I think I'm better or whatever, because I'm not like that at all. I'm actually very humble. I'm very quiet. I'm shy in some things, but I am now, after these years, confident in myself and what I do, but anyone could build that. Right. And that built over time.
And now, are there things that you do daily or weekly or monthly that you've identified as like your confidence builders throughout the years?
So every morning, so I don't like to sleep with socks on. It's weird. Like I like to wake up in the morning, put my feet on the ground, right? Feel the earth and talk to myself and have that conversation like, you got this, because fear and self-doubt, they're always there. Like I've pushed them down, right? So they're down here and my confidence is here, but I'm human. So they're always going to come up, and some things in life are very hard. Some days are more difficult than others. And I kind of sit there and I think to myself, I'm also believe in God and faith, and, I pray and I sit there and I'm like, you got this, you got this. And I kind of talk to myself in the morning, and then I get up and I'm like, no matter, even on the hardest days, I've had some hard days where that fear and doubt are like, get back in bed. You can't do this. You don't got this. And I'm just like, I kind of battle it out. Like I've gotten to a place in my life where I can control my mind now. They're there. And some days they're coming up, but I'm like, I just don't let it happen. Even in the face of like the worst day ever, it's almost like a fake it till you make it. No, fake it till you become it, till you become it, right? So I sit there and I'm like, I just refuse to let them take over. And that came with time. Maturity, time, having difficult things and gaining my confidence. So because I don't think anyone's born with confidence. I think the self-fear, the doubt, the insecurities, we all have them. You know, everybody has that, but it becomes a mindset. And one day it kind of just like clicks, right? And you're just like, I can decide today how this day is going to go. You know, and that's really.
Yeah, I like that. Fake it till you become it.
Till you become it.
Yeah, that's definitely better than fake it till you make
it.
So I have an example of that. And it happens to just be with like, you know, working out. And I was feeling really like, I don't know, I was just in my own head the other day. So my girlfriend and I went for a walk and I was telling her like I was 5 minutes in and I'm like, I still feel like shit. I feel negative. And she's like, it's fine. Just keep going. And I know that I'm not going to give up. I just keep going. Do you know that it took me, and I looked at the clock, it took me 29 minutes before I actually turned over. And I was outside in the environment, usually being outside and getting the vitamin D, and it was a beautiful day. You feel good. But it took me 29 minutes to finally be like, oh, wow, I'm back. This worked. Right. And it doesn't seem like it's a long period of time, but being on the walk and the run for 29 full minutes while I'm still in my head. And it was like, it was wild what was going on in my head. It was like, stop running. You're lazy. Stop. Go back inside. You're not enjoying this. Like all these negative things. And it wasn't until minute 29 that I was like, wow. All right. Like I finally got over it.
But you did it.
I did.
You did it. But, and you learned, though, that's a mindset, right? So that was, and a lot of things that we've talked about, right? You are strong. You are strong. And a lot of things, you know, I am strong, but a lot of it is our mind. And I think that comes with time where you learn to control that. But you did it. And I
remember, so this is something that I do when I'm outdoors, either running or walking. I don't like looking really far ahead. Obviously, beware of cars and stuff like that.
Safety.
But you know what I'm saying? Safety first. But a hack of mine is looking directly down at the floor because all I'm doing is just taking one step. But do you know, for 29 minutes, I still, at this level of fitness and mindset, and been doing this podcast for years and years, and I'm in, you know, this personal professional development space, still. It took me that long and I couldn't believe it. But then once I snapped out of it, now I was really locked in and I'm like, oh, we'll be out here for 5 hours.
Right.
But I can easily see how the majority of people would do a 20-minute walk. Because if I did a 20-minute walk, I still would have got 20 minutes in, but it would have been the most negative walk of my life.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have been beneficial at all. And the key here is just keep going. And I would have been okay because there's days that I work out and I really don't feel great.
Right.
But you still got it in and you still did it. But I was shocked and Katie was shocked. She's like, dude, you're still feeling like that? And she's like, get over it. And I'm like, no, I can't. I just can't snap out of it. So I want people to know that it's normal. It's okay to feel that way.
And I think that that's important too. Like, look at what you do. Look at what I do. Like, we're trying to empower people, but we are learning every single day. We're working on ourselves every single day. If someone says, I'm the master of this, every day I wake up and I'm 100% it's not sustainable. Right. It's not true, right? And you have to be a little easier on yourself. Like, I beat myself up. I'm better now, but I'll be like, you can't fail. You have to be strong. You can't cry. And now I've morphed. It's like a refined strength, if that makes sense, where it's like I can be vulnerable. I'm going to have bad days. I'm going to be sad some days, but it's me picking myself back up. Maybe that's an hour later, 1 day later, 1 week. And I think that's important to teach people and to show, or to teach just to show that, like, we all have that, you know, and a lessons to be learned from everything. Like, look, you're like 29 minutes. You were so hard on yourself. You knew how many minutes it took to get out of it.
Well, I'm sick. I mean, most people know now who would listen to this podcast, but I'm definitely sick. And I was looking at this clock and I literally kept saying out loud, I feel like shit. I feel like, and I couldn't not say it.
Yeah.
Like, and I was trying to be like positive. I had, you know, Katie in my ear and I was calling her Tony Robbins because I'm like, I don't want to hear your Tony Robbins-ness right now. And usually I'm the one that's the Tony Robbins. But it was unbelievable to me that, you know, that still happens. And it was a real like game changer because I'm like, dude, you'll never get over this. And you'll always have these doubts and these fears and these limiting beliefs, but action is, I believe, really, that's why we named it, right? Showing how action cultivates excellence. And I sure enough, I just kept going and going and going until minute 29, everything turned over.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to make these changes, you got to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it brings up something too, having Katie around, like, you want to surround yourself with people when we have these bad days. I mean, a few weeks ago, I was having a little bit of a hard time, and like, you were in the office and you remind each other who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? And your friends, your family, your tribe, we're going to have those days. We're always so supportive and so strong in helping people, but you should be, the people in your life should also do that for you. You know,
Absolutely.
And I think that's really important. And that's how I feel like when I go to one of your events, I leave and I've made so many friends now. And it's like family to me, because on those times, we're all very strong and we're all trying to help each other. But that is life, where it's never going to be 100% perfect every day. And we need sometimes those little reminders, like, you got this.
Yes.
It's 29 minutes, but who cares? You're there. I'm in your ear. Like, I'm pushing you to go. I'm motivating you. That's what we all do for each other. So I think that's important too in life, to make sure that your people are you know.
We have to shout out Amanda.
Yeah.
From Boundless.
Yeah.
I love her.
Love her.
I love everything she's doing, but that's really the original reason that we met.
Yeah, that's
it was
right.
at her block party over a year ago.
I was doing B12 shots, of course, you know, trying to spread health and wellness everywhere. And I met so many people, and we met. And I think that we hit it off because you really just, people's energy, like I read energy. I'm like, wow, okay, this is cool. This guy's got some good energy. He's working on some good things. And
it started from there. And I have a question for you. That day, was I the biggest arm that you injected B12 into?
Yes, you were.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
You were.
Are you looking to elevate your brand with captivating visuals and immersive sound? Look no further than the home of the No Snooze podcast, Kayi Visions Productions, your go-to destination for cutting-edge audio and video production. At Kayi Visions, we don't just create content. We create experiences that leave a lasting impact. From podcasts, YouTube variety shows, sleek corporate videos, to attention-grabbing promotional campaigns, our team of experts is dedicated to turning your vision into reality. Choose Kayi Visions for a production experience like no other. It's time to make your brand known. Contact us today at kayivisions@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at Kayi Visions. Kayi Visions Productions, where audio-visual excellence meets innovation. Now, back to the epi. I got to go back to your expertise here. So for somebody, I guess, who I'll say not familiar with this level of wellness and what you do with Elivate, what is anti-aging? And like, are there things that people can do just on a regular level to anti-age? To anti-age, right?
So listen, aging is inevitable. Like we're going to age, right? It's crazy. When we're born, right, our cell is programmed, it's called apoptosis, for cell death. Like from the day we're born, things are changing, we're aging, and it's programmed to at some point die, right? That's a little creepy to think that way, but that's what's happening at a cellular level.
Okay, question before you continue with the cells. How many cells are we talking in this body?
I mean, oh my God.
I don't know. Is it thousands or is it millions or billions?
No, like trillions and trillions. Yeah, we have everything. There's so many cells. I wouldn't know the exact number, but that's what we're made of.
Okay.
You know, so it's like the cells are programmed to go that way. So anti-aging is what we can do to not age, because we're going to age, but slow it down, right? So whether that's for your skin, whether that's internally, I truly believe that it's from inside out, right? So I want to work at a cellular level, keeping those cells hydrated, keeping those cells like they have little walls around them as strong as possible, because we're all going to age, right? Take like two twins, right? So you have two twins, exactly the same chronological age. And one, we're both going on a conveyor belt and aging, but one is doing anti-aging, supplements and lifestyle nutrition. And we're still going this way, but they're just a lot slower, right? So you can slow it down. People are working on never aging at all, but that's, one day in the future, I'm sure that will happen. Yep. It's not realistic. So anti-aging is basically things and treatments and stuff that we do just to basically keep the body as strong as possible and age slower. Right? And healthier. So that's what I do. So some people think like, oh, you do skincare, Botox, blah, blah, blah. These are all tools that I have, right? But I'm way more, that's like the tip of the iceberg for me. I have all these tools and each person is individualized. And I'm thinking, how can I make you, healthier and age slower? Right. So, but we're all going to age. Like I have a birthday every year. You have a birthday every year. That's like a chronological age. But I can tell you this, all the stuff that I'm doing, staying hydrated. I don't drink. I've never been a big drinker. I don't do drugs. I work out. I'm putting good fuel in my body. When you measure my age, cellular, I'm aging like 15 years younger than what I am chronologically.
That's awesome. So Gary Brecka actually just did that. I think he's he's in his 50s. Or early 60s, but I believe he's got his stem cells, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
He's actually 35 years old right now.
Yeah. So I'm in my early 4th decade and I'm measuring something early 30s, late 20s. And not only when they scan my skin, like the elasticity in the cells, but when we're going cellular with, my body composition, my muscle, because muscle is huge. That's a big thing with anti-aging is not to be big and bulky, but to maintain that muscle mass. It's called sarcopenia. Your muscle mass starts to degrade as you get older. And that's a sign of the aging body as well too. So, I can actually I can show someone look, what I'm doing and what I want to do for you actually does help.
Oh my God. So I would bet right now that I'm actually older cellular wise than I am age. Is that accurate? I'm being dead serious.
No, I do want to do a few more tests on you so I can have that number. Yeah. I'll do it. But
if you tell me that I'm 65 out here living in a 35-year-old body, I'm being
sometimes
real
I have people coming in their 20s and they're aging 70, and I don't. I'm all about positivity.
That's gonna be me.
Right?
No. You're a good 70-year-old.
No.
Dave.
But I'm not going to hurt someone's feeling. I'm going to look at. I'm going to use that information of how can I help this person,
Gotcha.
right? And then when they start doing better, and I start to see those changes, I'm like, wow, look at this. I'm never going to come in because that could hurt someone's feelings. And I want them coming in there feeling excited about getting healthy, feeling excited about their doing, not leaving saying, wow, I'm 50 pounds overweight. She said I'm aging at a 70-year-old. I don't do that to people. Yeah. I might see the number and think, okay, I got to get some work done here.
Well, you got to be
honest
with me. I want to know.
Yeah. We will.
Seriously, full honesty.
I think that you're doing great for your age, but I told you that because you're younger, I'm
able to get by right now.
You're able to get by but your body's always going to tell you, right? People are like, oh, the signs and symptoms that you tell me, that's your body sending you a message like, hey, something's going on here. I'm going to support you. I've spent my life studying the human body. It's going to kind of balance out, but only for so long, right? Once you get to a certain age, then it catches up and you're just running on fumes. You're barely getting by. You're at a perfect time now where we can try and optimize, right? Find those deficiencies and get you running at your best. Because right now, you look great, you're living great, but I feel like, you're maybe not absorbing your food as well as I would like you to be. And our bodies were made to get our nutrients from what we're putting in. Okay. But then what you're putting in and what you're putting out, right? So you're working out so hard. I deal with a lot of athletes and a lot of people. You appear so healthy on the outside, but you're overdoing it a little bit and you're not replenishing what your body needs. And we talked about rest with you. Rest is critical when you're sleeping and rest for your body to repair, right? All those cells, everything, because otherwise you're going to be damaging cells, damaging DNA, and might be doing harm to yourself, right? So we have to find a good happy medium or balance for you.
Yes.
Where, you're doing these things, but also replenishing what your body needs so it can live longer.
Yeah, I'm being very transparent here and honest. There are days where I wake up, and if I were to score it out of a 10, I feel like a 4.
Yeah.
And that's not good. And then I wake up and, I do my morning routine, which gets me going a little bit. The one thing, though, that I've really implemented into my training routine is that mobility warm-up. And it opens up my hips, my spine. Shout out Pat Damiano. I shout out Pat all the time because he's really changed my life with that stuff. I was not only training to the same intensity level, but I was not doing the mobility work. But I want to get that number from a 4 to an 8.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's ironic. And then it gives me this false sense of security because when I'm done working out, the endorphins are flowing. I'm on a high and I feel like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm coming out of a sauna. I'm doing a cold shower and my body feels good. But then I go through the whole day. I go to sleep. I wake up and I'm like, But I mean, the reality is like I just did 1,000 push-ups or, you know, I did 100 pull-ups in 15 minutes. Like I'm pushing my body, I guess, towards limits that like people ask me this all the time. They're like, what are you training for, bro?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm not really training for anything. And they're like, can you slow it down? But to me, I don't mean it to sound like a meathead, but I like challenging myself. I like looking at the clock when I'm running my mile. I record my times and I go back in and I'm like, okay, you ran a 750 mile on Monday. Like, why can't you run a 725 mile? You know, and I challenge myself.
That's our personalities.
It's hard though.
But I challenge you now. The next challenge I'm giving you is that you have to push yourself, right, in a different direction and learn the importance of the rest and the refueling, right? So that's your next challenge because I know you can hit it hard. I know that you're strong. Like same with me. I'll go. You know, and I'm a little bit older than you. So it's like my body's, you know, feeling it differently. But I want to challenge you. I want you to start to think about the balance, okay? Because it's important. You're strong and you're working on yourself every single day. But I think that's going to be, you know, we got to keep you around for a long time. Yes. You got your daughter.
Callie needs her daddy.
Right? Yeah, she needs her daddy. You're such an amazing dad. Like I look at things like that and I'm like, okay, that's your motivation right there. Mm-hmm. So I need you to use that and challenge yourself and refine your strength, just like I told you before, right? So I'm not saying like I get it. My head is like that too. But I think that you have to learn to just refine a little bit. So we're going to get you resting and replenishing.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted, yeah.
Challenge accepted. I'm hearing it a lot more than not these days. And also, I was talking to Diamandia about this. You know Diamandia, right?
Yep.
She's like, you know, she was saying the same thing. And she went through this point in her life where, you know, when she was a marketing VP for the UFC. And she was training like 5 hours a day. And she had like, I don't know if it was, didn't she have shingles like 40 times? And she had like staph infection.
That's your body. Like I was telling you guys, that's your body speaking out. It's yelling. Right. It's like, hey.
But she was training through that until she basically had a breakdown. And I think my body's starting to like slowly just tell me like, yo, bro, you got to take it easy. And I have to listen, right? I'm not stupid out here. And that's,
have to listen.
You know, I have to listen. And I know that. But from my brain, you know how my brain works to both of you, CV and Melissa, like this is very challenging for me to do because I've built myself up to this, you know, mental monster where my mind is so much stronger than my body.
Right.
So the second that I start an activity that goes into that mental mode and it's like, off to the races.
Right.
Whereas like there is nothing wrong with on a Sunday, just go outside for a walk, like a slow walk for a mile. It doesn't have to be 5 miles. Like I could just do that. Active rest days. I got to implement it.
Yeah. And I think small changes, like that's when I'm dealing with people too. I can't give you 100 different, we talked about this before, 100 different things to change.
Yeah.
We're human. It gets overwhelming. People, you know, they're like, I can't do this. I'm just, they kind of give up. So I want you to start to like slowly implement that in. You know what you need to do. We'll remind you, but it's important. It's important.
All right. Well, I heard it from my doctor first, so I'm going to do it. How'd you open up the spa? So let me tell you guys this first before we start. Elivate Med Spa is talk about a vibe, right? It's in Greenwich, Connecticut, conveniently located. This is the first med spa I've ever been to. I've never really even heard of these things before. But now it's funny because once I heard about it, all these different spas, I see them. Yeah. That's how the brain works, right? You see one red Toyota and then you got 5,000 of them. So now I see that they're all over the place. But your spa is incredible. Not only the staff that's there, but the services that you guys provide. And this is me speaking from obviously experience. You treat your patients with kindness, respect, and your knowledge is something that I think is not really everywhere. So I really encourage everybody to check out Elivate Med Spa in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Thank you. I struggled with naming it because med spa can have kind of like people have this idea about it. So I ended up doing Elivate Med Spa and Wellness, but really it's Elivate, right? Elivate, and I keep thinking I might get rid of the other words besides Elivate. Elivate is my heart and my soul, right? It is a brand, and the spa or the location where we do these services is part one for me. But when I was naming it or figuring out what the hell do I want to do in my life? What am I doing next? I want to start a business. What am I doing? I thought about the definition of elevate, right? Which is to raise up, to lift up, to optimize, to get to the next level. Like, what did I want for myself? I was in a little bit of a low place at that time in life. And I was like, what is it that I'm trying to do? What was my purpose? I lost myself a little bit. And I was like, I want to elevate. And I want other people to feel like that too. I want to inspire and empower people to elevate as well. So I was like, okay, elevate. But I'm like, I want to put live in the middle of it. So that's why I spell it Elivate. People are like, you made your own word. I'm like, hells yeah, because I have to stand behind, like I have to feel something. And so it's like, elevate is me, right? So living elevated. So that's how the name came. And I had that first. I had elevate first in my journal. And then I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this? The first thing was I'm going to open up an office where I can start to work on this with people, right? And then it became like the med spa and the wellness and the integrative medicine. But it was hard to name it. I kind of just wish it was just Elivate. But people then are like, what would that be? They wouldn't know.
They wouldn't know, right?
So I had to put that on. But it is very different. It's very different than the traditional, medical spa. I am very different. It's more of like a brand, a feeling, a vibe. And like I said, that's part one. I have some big things that I want to kind of, spread the elevate meaning out there. But this was my first part that I did.
I love it. When did you make the decision to go off on your own? Because that's a tough one, because when you're in the field of medicine, I got to believe that the salaries are pretty good when you're working for an organization, right?
Yeah,
like
this
just
is a
when
great
you're
question, Dave.
What?
Yeah, good. This is a good question. I'd like to share this one.
Absolutely.
Yes, I was in a big practice where my bonuses were more than I pay myself a year now. My bonuses.
Wow.
But I was so passionate about doing this that I jumped, right? Like, you miss 100% of the chances you don't take. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And I did it. It was a hard year. I got divorced that year. Before Elivate came, I had no home. I had no health insurance. I had everything, and I went to having nothing. I was humbled and broken down to the bare minimum. And instead of kind of fall into that, I was like, what am I doing? And Elivate was born that day in my head, in my heart. I wrote it down, and I just kept going with it. It was COVID. So I took everything that I had, which was nothing. I had support of my family, okay, you could do this. And I created the office, and everything shut down. So wow. I was open for 1 week. And now remember, I'm basically Elivate is my everything, right? I had 3 kids. I didn't know how I was going to feed them. I didn't know anything. I had no health insurance. I was starting from zero, but I believed in it so much. I believed in myself that every day I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm waking up, I'm getting dressed, and I'm going to this office that's closed. I can't see patients. It was COVID, and I didn't know what the future was going to bring, right? So that fake it till you become it was kind of what I had to do every day. Otherwise, I would curl up in the corner crying I have nothing. I just, what am I going to do? And I was like, all right, the world is shut down. I am basically homeless right now, living at my parents' house with 3 kids. I cannot fail. Right? Failure, what people looked at me like they felt bad. And I was like, don't feel bad. I'm not a victim. This is going to happen, right? Elivate is going to happen. And I'm going to wake up every day, and I'm going to go to that office and just start planning for the future when the world opens up, and I'm not going to give up. And I had no paycheck then. I had no paycheck. So I left my old job. The contract ended. So, I didn't burn a bridge. I could go back any day. Mm-hmm. But it just this, something inside of me was it's time. Right. And I was scared. Because what do you do? 3 kids, how are you going to feed them?
No.
I have no job. I created something for myself. Right. I was not going to wait for the opportunity. I created it for myself. And it was weird. It was I think it was God, to be honest, the strength that I had every day to wake up knowing this could be this could not work. Something got me up every single day, and it was definitely my kids. I couldn't fail, right? I had put everything I had, and I was like, I'm gonna make this work, and I did. I did. I went every day. I worked hard, and I somehow figured it out. And I prayed, but I didn't pray like, "Hey God, can you give me a paycheck so that I could feed my kids? Can you?" I prayed every day. I changed my mindset, and I said, "Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be able to go and create my dream, to be able to be healthy enough to wake up and do this, right?" And so every day I was just saying, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm blessed. And, I had to tell myself that, because some days I was like, oh boy, I can't even, good thing I do what I do. I can't even go to the doctor. Like I looked at the kids and I'm like, how am I going to pull this off? But, I just didn't give up. And I knew, like, I felt it, whether you believe in God, the universe, whatever, every day I just got up and I went and I did it. And if you can survive all those things, right, I feel like people could do anything. And if there's a message in that, it's like, just don't give up. Just jump in, don't give up, and and have faith. Have faith in yourself. Have faith. Like, it was there. No one's I'll stand up in front of anyone. Like, God, universe was there, and they somehow, like, with all of that against me, like, in the beginning of COVID, we didn't know. Mm-hmm. What was going to happen. Like, I was there volunteering, helping people, not getting a paycheck. I was doing my part, like, in the cool world, but I was like, I just opened my business all by myself, and I don't have one patient, not $1 coming in, and it was like, I don't know. I just did it. And I'm so grateful.
Powerful, very powerful stuff. And I think it speaks a lot. It speaks volumes to who you are, and now obviously what you've created. Your team at work. Right. Yeah. You guys are very close.
Yeah.
Like, it's a beautiful thing to see. Just as a leader myself, I have a large team, so it's hard to get, I guess, as close, but there's certain individuals on my team who I'm extremely close to. I want to pick your brain about leadership a little bit. What is it that you look for, owning a business and being a leader yourself? What do you look for in others that you're like, okay, this is somebody that I can work with?
Yeah. Being a leader can be challenging, but I've definitely built a team that I'm so proud of. I'm so blessed to be with them every day. I think that they're so hardworking and motivated, and they have heart. They care about what they're doing. Like, I think that they're just as passionate about me. So, like, I have my dream and my goals, but I share that with them. I make them part of it. So I'm never like, I'm boss, that's my name on the door. Because that's happened to me before. That's happened to me where it's like, I'm the boss, that's my name on the door. Who are you? Type of thing. And I never wanted to make that type of environment. So I include them, in everything. And I think that's important too, even like financials, things like that. Like, there's certain things like, boss work, I call it. But when you're telling your team, like, okay, this is the goal that we have together, let's do this together. So I think I make it more like a family.
You do, for sure.
Yeah, I make it more like a family. And I love every day. Like, I walk in there and sometimes I just sit there and I'm like in awe, like, how did I pull this off? And how was I so blessed to have all these people around me? So my team's everything.
Is there a commonality in terms of, like, personality trait or characteristic that you look for in people to be on your team?
Yeah, it's like, I'm very loyal. So it's like that loyalty and respect. And of course, like, that the brain and common sense, but I have to, like, I feel their good vibe and their energy. Because, you meet people and are just like, this vibe is off. I think they just all share in similar vibe as me. That's really, yeah.
I got a flashback. I meant to say it before, but she very casually had a Michael Jordan quote that she just threw out there before.
Oh.
When you said you miss 1,000 shots. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That was a Wayne Gretzky
quote.
It is a Wayne Gretzky quote. I think you're right. I think it's an original Wayne Gretzky quote, requoted.
100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes, requoted by Michael Jordan. Wow, CV, you're showing a lot of my leg here. Jesus, if you're on YouTube, there you go. There's a blessing for you.
But that's the truth, right?
Yes,
with anything, 100%. Like, even like, remember when you were little and you liked a girl or you liked a boy, and like, if you didn't actually ask them or say something, like, you would never know, right? Yep. So I've now in life with everything, I'm just like, I just put myself out there and I'm like, okay, you're going to have the fear, rejection, all that stuff, like that used to scare me, and that would stop me from doing things.
Right.
And no more. Yeah.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit with the hard times in your life. You mentioned the divorce, which obviously I know well. You know my situation. But that's the past. Obviously, things are going to continue to happen in our lives, the adversity of life. How do you manage to stay focused when things in your life aren't going well?
I remember the promises that I made to myself. I bring it back and I am like, why am I doing this? What's the why? Right. And that's the promises I made to myself and my children. I look every day at the picture of the three of them, and it just inspires me and motivates me. And on those hard days, I'm like, I do this for them, for me and for them. And I don't know, I just get it done. Like there's always going to be stress. There's always going to be bad days and negative things. And but you have to go back to the why. What is the reason that I'm doing this? And you have to get through.
Do you keep that picture somewhere specific?
Yeah.
Where
So
is
I
that?
have it on my phone, and I have it in my house when I'm leaving the door, like right when you walk in on the little table there, and I just see it, and I'm just like, that's my everything right there. That unconditional love that like. I don't know. I just got it.
I love things like that. Like, in my family, my dad's name is Michael. So all of his three kids, we carry a St. Michael in our cars just to protect us and stuff like that. So I love that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about being a mom?
Oh, my gosh.
It's difficult out here. Let me tell you, I'm just getting started in the game.
Just wait till
listen,
you have
Callie walks all over me. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many things, but I'll tell you, watching them as like young adults and teens and all.
How old are the kids now?
So 14, 16, and 18.
Wow.
So I had them in my 20s, and I'm blessed, but I missed when everyone was having fun and going out and doing things. I was like in school and then being mom. So yeah, but it's great. Seeing the work that you put in kind of show up in their personalities. I look at them sometimes and I'm in awe. My son that plays D1 football, my daughter.
Bryant University, right?
Yeah,
Did
Bryant.
you know that I went to Bryant?
No, I didn't know that actually.
How crazy is that?
I think you told me. Yes,
Yes.
you did tell me.
Such a small world. I went to Bryant only for one semester, but then that's when the Crohn's really, really affected me, and I actually had to go home. So then when I went home, that's how I ended up at Manhattanville because of the proximity to my doctor.
Yeah,
my doctor was
so
in Purchase.
wild, the small circles that we run in. I don't know, you see the work that you put in come out in their personalities, and I'm like, I look at them and I'm like, they are such hard workers and good people with good hearts, and so it makes you be like, oh, okay, I did a good job. I did a good job. I look at them all the time, and I'm so impressed by them. They're becoming good humans.
That's amazing.
So,
and your parents are still around, right?
Yeah.
What is it? And I always ask people this, and it's really just for my own interest and knowledge, because I'm a parent now myself. But what would you say is the greatest lesson that you've learned from your parents? And you obviously still have a very close relationship with them now.
Yeah.
But is there something you can think of that they really molded you with?
Yeah. Wow. That hard work. Holy moly. Neither of them got to, go to college. My dad was a very, worked from like 17 years old. He owns a body shop. He is the best human.
Nice Jewish guy, right?
Yeah. The best human ever. And the same, my mom, just the hard work and unconditional love. My father he's my inspiration for everything. He has loved me more. I hate my sisters always get upset, but like we have this special bond. And it's this unconditional love that he taught me. He's always been supportive. He's always been there. And the two of them together, just there, I was blessed to have that growing up, and I have that every day. Like I every day, he's my best friend. He'll call, and I know that I can't find a man that's like him.
So he screwed.
So I think
he screwed you up.
He kind of did, and I tell him all the time.
That's what I'm trying to do to Callie out here. I got to be honest.
I'm
with you.
just saying.
I'm trying to make it to where she looks at dudes and she's like, "Listen, if you're not of this standard and this caliber, you are not it, young boy."
He has really set the bar high. I think they broke. No, there's a lot of good guys, and that's also why I believe in what you do, because I think that you're helping men to be better versions of himself. Because like my dad had that innately, and I saw that, and I have that standard. So I was so impressed because I'm like, listen, kings and queens, we do better, stronger together, right?
Yes.
We all have work to do, but I think that like you guys, as strong as you all are showing that vulnerable side, and it's like a real man, and that's what my dad was like to me in my life. So that my parents, I'm blessed.
Listen, so we've known each other now. We've had many, many conversations.
Yeah.
This is something I would have never known. That question, see, you got to always remind me to ask it because real gold comes out. You see what just happened there? I love that. And shout out to Mom for being as strong as she is. And I can obviously see why you are the way that you are now. Let me tell you guys about Sir. Sir is a men's lifestyle brand featuring modern skincare products, patented tools, and branded services designed to instill confidence in men. Sir embraces a unique combination of innovative technology and scientific skincare ingredients. Sir combines traditional aesthetics and grooming services with the most advanced technologies found on the market today. Some of their grooming tools include the Skin Beard Roller, which helps promote blood flow to the surface of the skin, stimulating the production of elastin and collagen. Not only will this encourage growth of your facial hair, but it can also help reduce the appearance of wrinkles and fine lines. The Sonic Skin Scrubber Deep Facial Cleansing Tool. This nifty little device not only cleanses your skin and preps it for shaving, but it also massages your face to diminish signs of aging. The At-Home Laser Barber. Say goodbye to shaving and waxing. With their intense pulse light hair removal device, you can achieve long-term hair reduction with noticeable results in just 4 weeks. My favorite skincare product is their anti-aging face and eye cream. It's a one-stop solution for all your skincare needs. Additional services include laser barbering, hair rejuvenation, waxing, Botox, and my favorite, their incredible facial experience. I've never had a facial in my life until I went to Sir, and I can assure you I'll be back. Conveniently located in White Plains, New York, the Sir Studio has an outdoor patio, coffee machine, drink options, and a staff that's educated and friendly. Give them a follow on Instagram at Skincare for Men Only, and let them know you're a friend of the No Snooze podcast for an exclusive deal. Now, back to the epi. Going back now to medicine.
Mm-hmm.
The IV thing, right? It's very popular now.
Right.
The vitamin therapy. I've been seeing some even like pop-up shops for vitamins and stuff like that. But can you talk about what's in them? And I guess why it's like a huge fad right now? Because it seems like, from my experience, it's actually very efficient, right? Like you go in for an hour, you get all the vitamins, and you actually leave feeling rejuvenated.
Yeah.
The first time I did it, I couldn't recall my feeling prior to my feeling after, but the last time I did it with Ozzy, and Ozzy, did he tell you what happened to him?
Yeah.
So my man actually overworked himself to the point to where he passed out. And this is one of my best friends I'm talking about. He came with me to Elivate. He actually won at the summit, right?
Yep.
So he won a IV therapy bag, and we went together and we did it. And for him, he was just coming off of an extreme dehydration. Right. And he was texting me for the next like 5 days. Like, yo, do you feel as good? Yo, I'm like, no, bro, you just actually really felt that bad.
Right.
So it is an instant change.
Yeah.
But talk to us about
Well, I mean, for Ozzy too, think about it. What's the first thing when you go to the ER? We put in a line and we put you on hydration, right? Mm-hmm. No matter what. So like I always used to say, like it can bring someone back from the dead, right? The hydration itself. Now, IV therapy, I've been doing it way before it was trendy and all these little pop-up shops, because I was on this bandwagon 15 years ago, and I actually started doing it with kids, right? Kids that were immunodeficient, on the spectrum, autistic, and they weren't getting their nutrients. And I was like, what ways can I get these great nutrients into these people? So I've been studying and doing this and passionate about IV therapy way longer than now, all the trend, let's say. But it's 100% absorbable, right? So like I said, our body is made to get our nutrients from food. But in today's times, people are deficient in things. The food quality is not so good. Stress, environmental factors. It's just that we're not running as efficiently as we used to. So this kind of like bridges that gap, right? Where I can give you nutrients 100% absorbable, bypassing your digestive system, right? So in someone that has maybe GI issues and they're not breaking down and absorbing properly, I can give you your nutrients via the IV, and it's going to go right to your cells, right? Through your bloodstream to your cells. So I'm not saying you should live on IVs, right? No one should live that's not how we were made, but I can boost you and get you kind of back and then get you thinking like, what ways can I get from my food? What ways can I change my lifestyle? What supplements, things like that. But what I put in, I customize them all. So it's different. These little kind of shops popping up everywhere. It's very generic. Right. And they're like, oh, here's an energy boost. Here's this, here's this. I am small because I am quality over quantity, right? So when you're coming in, I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you, what's your symptoms? What do we want to improve? And I'm customizing that IV bag for you. So that's the difference between me and a lot of other places. Yep. Do I think like if you're in Vegas and you're hungover, yeah, go get an IV bag. Like that's great because it's going to do what it did for Ozzy and revive him.
My man was
it brought him back to life.
Walking on water.
Right? Yeah. But I'm looking at it in a different way and I'm very passionate about it. But not everyone can handle the needles. I have people that pass out all the time because they're scared of a needle. So, maybe the IV therapy is not for them, So then I'm going to work on like, okay, what other ways can we get you these nutrients that you need?
What would be optimal in terms of like the frequency of that? Because you also have my other best friend, Mark Carter.
Yeah. You have surrounded yourself with such amazing people. They're great guys. Yes. I adore them. They have been, they're just good people. They're good people. So when they come in, I'm just like, I want to make you healthy.
And this is you've become, and your expertise has really become a topic of conversation amongst us men because we do all the other things, and we're always pouring into others and we're really trying to, I guess, consume the content to learn more, to do all this. But sometimes even if you're working out, you're still not optimizing everything, and you have become the optimizer. That should be your nickname, the big optimization.
I like this. That's my goal.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do. Kind of fill in, that need for people. So I, thank you for saying that. That makes me really happy.
It's
that
true.
Means fulfilling what I had hoped to. Frequency, it depends. Like for like someone that's rather healthy, once a month is nice, but in order for me to really answer that, like for you, we did your lab work. I'm probably going to have you come in as much as possible initially to kind of boost you up. Okay. And then I'm going to switch you to monthly. So, it's not really like, not generic to me. Like, if someone could do it once a month, just think about like a once a month kind of multivitamin type thing.
And it's
that's
100%.
Right. Because it's bypassing your digestive system.
Digestible?
Yeah. Because when you eat your food, right, it goes in, you break it down, and maybe you absorb it. Maybe you don't.
Talk about what you looked at upstairs, and I'm going to butcher this, but basically what you were saying to me when you were looking at my results, you were like, okay, you're eating your food and it's being digested, but because you're low in XYZ, the food is actually not able to replenish properly.
Okay. All right, pretty good.
Close?
Pretty good. So we looked at the energy cycle or Krebs cycle, if anyone remembers biochemistry from high school.
No one's remembering that. Yeah, no one is out here remembering that on the No Snooze podcast.
So I studied that and I kind of, so what we looked at is we looked at Dave's, fats, carbs, proteins, right? How you break it down and how that goes into your energy pathway. So vitamins and nutrients are what we call cofactors. They're like little helpers that help the processes in your body to go, to kind of move along properly. So think about like an engine in a car, right? Yep. So all the things are going, but if this part's not working, this part's not going to work. So that's what we looked at, right? So we looked at the energy cycle. And some of your pathways are not running efficiently.
They're a little low.
Right, because you're missing certain nutrients that are going to push that pathway. So I look at that with people and I'm like, look, Dave, you're low in magnesium, you're low in all your B vitamins. And this pathway of breaking down, we saw even your fats, right, from meat, all the steak and stuff, it's like stuck. Right? It's stuck here and it's not moving along 100% like this nice Ferris wheel. It's like bump, 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 bump. Now, what I want to do is get that to run efficiently. So I want to replace those cofactors and nutrients so that your body, your engine is moving properly, right? So that's kind of like the breakdown of it. And it's so cool. Like, I'm so fascinated by that. I look at that and I'm like, this is so cool, but at least I have this to show you because now you understand. You're like, oh, look, I'm low in this, I'm low in this. And we point through the pathway and we're like, okay, that's why you're not feeling 100% optimal. So let's start with that. Let's start to help your cells run smoother.
You explained that much better than I did.
You did did well.
But this does really baffle my mind because I'm very strategic with, the foods that I'm eating. I could agree that the quality of the food sometimes, like I'm not always getting organic stuff because it's expensive out here. I'm just going to be honest.
No, of course, yeah.
But
and you don't have to buy organic everything.
No,
too.
but I'm surprised that my energy source, like everything that was low was typically energy, right? Like all the vitamins were attached to the energy, which is crazy because I'm strategically eating the foods, my eggs, my berries, the steak, like that are supposed to be boosting me up. Yeah. So that's wild to me.
There's two things with you that's going on, right? With everyone, it's what you're taking in and what you're putting out, right? Energy in, energy out. So you are working out so hard that you might be putting, because I know your diet, I see like you're putting in this great stuff, but you're burning through it too fast. And it's like, it's not going to all the places it needs to, right? Because it's going to building your muscle. It's going to basically sustain you so you don't fall over after you work out, right? Yeah. So when I give you guys these things too, I can't say, okay, here, glutathione, go to the liver and clean this out. Your body is going to take it where it needs it, okay? So you're using it up. It's almost like you're putting it in, but you're using it up for things, and some things are suffering. Does that make sense?
Yes,
that's the main thing. Also with you, I think that because of your GI stuff, that you might be putting in very good things, but inside your body, there's some inflammation, right? A lot of inflammation, and inflammation, you're not absorbing your nutrients properly. So say maybe you take this in and you're only absorbing half of it, and then your body's only using half of that. Does that make sense? So those are the two things going on with you.
Yeah. Well, one of the scariest things about Crohn's disease, and the easiest way to explain it is, again, a little graphic, but everyone knows what happens when you eat corn. You see it in the toilet.
Yeah.
When I was really getting diagnosed with the Crohn's, anything that I would eat, I would see.
Yeah.
Anything.
Okay. So you
if it was steak, if it was chicken, if it was any, and I know it's a little graphic and nasty.
No, it went through and you didn't absorb it.
I didn't absorb anything. And now that it's years later and I'm in remission,
you're controlled.
Still when I get into the flare-ups, and I'm on the Remicade, which helps me dramatically, but I'm on a very low dose now because I've been able to reverse certain things. But as you know, Crohn's is chronic, so I'll have it forever. But I still get bouts of flare-ups where I know that digestive tract, it's almost like, you have 28 feet of intestines, as you know. It's like it just bypasses all that and just doesn't get digested. So I'm curious to know, like, if you now can really change that.
Yeah. So inflammation is huge. Many disease processes and things that people are feeling is because they're so inflammatory. So part of my job is to find out what's causing that inflammation, right? And then we take that out. That's why I want to do the GI effects or stool testing on you, right? Because I want to see your healthy bacteria, your unhealthy bacteria, the different levels of things. And I want to optimize that in your gut so that you can utilize your food better, right?
So I'm very used to this. So, I have had to do all the nasty things.
And on the other end, I've also seen, so some people are like, Melissa, and I'm like, listen, I've delivered babies, I've done surgery, I've been I've everything that I've done in my 20 plus years, like I'm not looking at it that way, pee, vomit, stool, whatever, like I don't care. But that's my next thing for you, because that's your issue, is I want to find and I want to balance that out, right? Some people would be like, oh, I'm going to take probiotics. Okay, cool. What probiotics do you need? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know, you're going to take a generic one, but like, let me see what you have going on in there and let's find a probiotic. Just I'm just using this example, or a digestive enzyme or something like that that's going to actually help your body.
It makes so much sense.
So I want to work on that. I want to see what's going on in there, like get a snapshot of what's in there and work on that. And then the same thing, the IVs, that bypasses your digestive system. So in a time when you're inflamed and a time where you're not optimized right now, I can get you in the nutrients, right? But the goal is always for your body to run efficiently and optimally and be able to take things orally, right? But I think that's where the IV also bridges the gap for someone like you.
How does one measure inflammation? Like, so is there like a certain feeling that you would feel throughout the day?
Yeah, we know someone that has a lot of inflammation.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
So CV, I think he shared actually on a couple episodes ago. Yeah, it's coming out.
Oh, good. So you're next. I got you, CV. Like
CV said that he went to the doctor and they were like, there's a lot of inflammation here. Who's like, no, my man, it's just fat. but I'm curious to know how the regular person would identify their inflammation, or even know, is there like a feeling? Or is it like, how do you know?
feel terrible. Like, even pain, like pain comes from inflammation in the body, right? Like it's like stretching things, and that's where you're feeling the pain. We have lab work, like basic medicine, like CRP, things like that, where we go through all the traditional blood and we can see it. But not everyone gets flagged with stuff and they're feeling the symptoms. The body and your symptoms really are telling me that you're inflamed. But when I do this, a lot of the lab work, it's like I did someone the other day, and he'll be listening to this too. He is so inflamed, and it's all allergic related. Like the lab called me and was like, we retested your patient because this was so high.
Wow.
And he's coming in, he's like, Melissa, I got GI problems. I'm always bloated. I have all these issues. And I'm like, something's going on, and it's all inflammation. But his inflammation is triggered by certain allergens and food that he's putting in. But he needed me to show him, like, your body is telling you you're not listening. You're still eating those things. Like, look at this.
Look at it.
So how am I going to bring that inflammation down? We're going to omit those things that are causing it. Now, that's just his case, right? Sometimes even like stress and outside factors and things like that can cause, I call it inflammaging too. Like the inflammation causing aging. Okay. So I have all these little words, but it's like, so I can do lab work, but really lab work is one thing, but I sit there with my patients' symptoms and what their body's telling me and telling them, and I put the blood work together or lab work, and then that's how we figure it out.
Let me tell you, your intake form is no joke. I mean, that thing, I felt like I was writing an essay. I was like, is it over yet?
But I need to know how you're sleeping, how are you going to the bathroom, what are you doing? Like, I can piece it all together.
But even that, I remembered, so she has a scoring system, and it was about like fatigue. And in my head, I'm like, don't be a little puppy. Like, you're not really feeling that tired. Like, put the 1, not the 2. Like, I even battle that. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, you're not that tired, because I'm thinking of like, the troops in overseas that are really tired. And I'm over here like, okay, I got my 6 hours of sleep. But I don't know.
People do tend to, and all these years of talking to people, they write one thing, but when I'm kind of like doing your history and clinical stuff, I'm talking to you and I'm asking questions to get you to tell me the truth.
Real answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've gotten really good at that too.
Amuse the people with what they said about my nickel.
Oh my gosh. So this one, I check for, heavy metals and toxins and things, because that's really important too. What are outside things that could be causing issues? So we found that your nickel was really high. And, it's interesting that scientist behind the lab that I used was my professor many years ago, my biochemistry professor. He is brilliant. Like, in the pioneers of all the things that we're doing, this was this man's brain, and I got to train with him. So I always, even though I'm very confident in myself, I'm always like, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So I always call and I'm like, hey, let's go through it. This is what I found. Anything else you picked up? And I'm like, why is my patient's nickel so high? And they're like, is he a coin collector? Is he constantly touching money and coins? And I'm like, possibly. And they're like, does he wear a lot of jewelry? I'm like, well, yes, so earrings, things like that. And you don't wear a lot of jewelry, right? But your nickel was high. So we need to figure out why.
But you also said something. So 1, it could be the Rollies, or 2, it could be the water from the tap, right?
I was like, he does like to wear Rolex every second of the day. So it's possible.
But the water, CV said it upstairs. Like, I drink a lot of tap water.
Yeah. And sometimes I find a lot. I found mercury.
Is there a way for me to test that?
Found arsenic in one patient. I just recently found tons of arsenic. And he was like, is my wife poisoning me?
I was going to say, it's probably.
And as a joke, I'm always like, it's possible.
Antifreeze.
Dude, arsenic is a big deal. Vaping.
Oh, yeah.
You guys people cannot vape. The chemicals, the poison, my kids, I show them. I was like, do you see, like, if I find a vape again, I'm gonna beat you, because this person's slowly poisoning themselves. Wow. So same thing. When I look at stuff like that, outside toxins, that's where we have to sit down and go through and be like, okay, maybe let's test your water. Let's maybe see what, what's in your environment that can be causing that increase.
I am so happy I came to you after 100 days of not drinking.
I know.
Seriously, I think my labs would have been wild.
I have to tell you something. Alcohol is, and I'm social. I'll drink when we're out, stuff like that. I'm not like anti whatever. But I think the difference between me and a lot of people is I really did not drink a lot in my lifetime. I was a dancer and I had to train 7 days a week, right? I needed to be up. I needed to be at class. I needed to perform. I needed my body to run the best that it could. So, and I learned really early on, because I was a pre-med major and a dance major. Like the weirdest thing. They're like, you're going to be a dancing doctor? Like, what is this? Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Like, who has 2 majors? But alcohol It's poison when it goes in. It's poison when it comes out. It is an irritant when it goes in. It irritates. It denatures your cells. It dehydrates your cells. It ages you. Everyone knows liver. They're like, oh, my liver shot. But like the stuff that it does, when I learned biochemically how it breaks down in your body, almost like formaldehyde, you know, we embalm people, and like the chemical process that happens in your body, I was like, I'm not willingly poisoning myself.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is there an amount of alcohol that's acceptable that you've seen from a scientific level? And is this weekly or monthly?
People ask me this all the time. It's the same with anything. I'm like, okay, you're allergic to gluten, or sensitive, you have this. And they're like, well, can I have it once a week? That's hard to say because it's different for different people. Yeah, right. So our DNA is different. Our genetics are different. You know, genetics, I always say, loads the gun. It's a weird analogy, but what you do pulls the trigger. Okay. So we may have these genetic components, and then what we're doing keeps us from that expressing that disease or that disorder from expressing. You know, alcohol, like I said, I will drink socially. I'm not going to be out and be like, I don't drink. I'm not that. But I know that it makes me feel ill. Like no one's ever seen me sloppy, messy ever once. I've never been that way because I just don't like how it made me feel. So I listened to my body. So, I mean, life is about balance, right? It's about balance, nothing in excess. I don't have a specific number. And there's so many studies like red wine, this. And, you know, there's definitely things you could drink that's better. Like sugar is bad. Sugar causes more inflammation than anything. Sugar is addicting. Like I did a study once, like with mice with heroin and sugar. Like it actually stimulates a part of the brain like a drug. Literally, that part of the brain just kind of lights up, right? So sugar is one of the, as a country, one of the worst poisons that we have, right? So if you're going to drink something, I would say like limit the sugar intake to something that's, you know, low in sugar and kind of clean. You know, but it's really like when you're doing like espresso martinis and things like that, where it's just all that extra sugar.
I was doing 4 of those.
Is not good. I know, right? So like I'll have one. Like people say I'm a cheap date because I go and I just drink like one the whole night. And I'm like, I'm socializing, I'm conversing, you know, but I'm not going to get smashed because I don't want to destroy my body. So
awesome. I loved our conversation. Is there anything you want to share that's been on your mind that we didn't discuss? And I only asked that question because, you know, this is an opportunity for us to highlight you and your expertise in your field. So if there was something that was on your mind, you know, I hate going to interviews and then I always leave like, damn, I should have said that. It'll happen to you anyway. But was there something that, you know, you wanted to say?
No, I mean, I'm just so happy we did this. I was a little nervous at first, but, you know, as you know, I love what I do and I want to share things, even if I helped one person, you know, today. Like that would make me really happy. So it's not about us like teaching or preaching, but I always hope that someone could learn something maybe from what we do, right? So it was important for me to come on today. If there was one thing, you know, just jump in, do it, you know, like don't let fear take over, you know, whatever it is in life, like your new, you know, being an entrepreneur, a new love interest, whatever, just like get in there and just do it. And, you know, love your life, love yourself, you know, and love people. Like it really, you know, people would think like, oh, are you bitter? I love, like, that's it. Like, I think that everything I do is with love. So I think like, I don't know if we could spread that word, just spread love.
I love that. Very grateful for you, Melissa. Seriously, you know,
grateful for you guys too.
We have great conversations, but I really respect what you do, what you bring to the table, and your involvement. We're very strategic about like, you know, the partnerships that we involve ourselves in. And now it's to the point that like ACE is, you know, kind of popping and people want to be involved and it's great, but there's a lot of sponsorships and opportunities that we turn down. So I just want to let you know that we really, really are so grateful for your partnership in this. And I'm grateful for you and what you're going to continue to do for me. And if there's anything that I can ever do for you,
no, we're doing it.
We're doing it, baby.
You know, we're out there and we're doing it. And I'm inspired by you and all that you do. You know, everyone that I've met through you, and I just love what we do. Let's just keep doing it. Let's just keep doing it. Yeah.
Guys, just want to say thank you to you. Please share this message, share this episode, send it to a friend, post it on Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube. We're out on all platforms. If you found any value today, please share the show. That's our one ask of the day. What'd you say? Oh, yes, CV. CV came in clutch. Look, Melissa, we need
Yes.
to ask you, where can everybody find you? Please look into that camera right there.
Oh, where you can find me. So
Here, this one.
Oh, this
there
one.
you
Okay.
go.
So Elivate is in Greenwich, 1455 East Putnam. I have an Instagram page, a website,
What is the Instagram page?
Elivate Med Spa. That's Elivate Med Spa. Yeah. And yeah, just give us a call, shoot me a DM, email. I'm happy to meet with anyone and talk and consult and, just trying to make the world a healthier place, one person at a time.
Beautiful. CV, good catch, my brother. Always saving me. Guys, you can shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com. And until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
The doctor came through. Thank you guys for tuning in. That's another epi in the books. You can follow us on Instagram at No Snooze Podcast and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com. Come on.